It's Friday, June 25th, and this is now on HNN. The 3 HPD officers charged in the deadly shooting of a teen robbery suspect appear before a judge as their supporters rally in downtown Honolulu.
There's something seriously wrong here.
The rescue effort at the building collapse in Surfside, Florida intensifies as nightfall approaches. I'm Laura Podesta with details on what emergency responders are listening for in their search for survivors.
For a period of 270 months.
The former officer convicted of the murder of George Floyd finally receives his sentence. I'm Michael George in Minneapolis with the powerful moments in court and the reaction from the Floyd family.
Really keeps making my blood boil was when she told the court that her conservators weren't allowing her to go to the doctor to get her IUD removed.
Plus, just days after her emotional court testimony, there are reports Britney Spears is in Hawaii. These stories and more coming up on This Is Now.
Good afternoon. Thanks for watching This Is Now. We have so many developing stories to get to. Let's get right to it.
That's right. The 3 Honolulu police officers charged in the fatal shooting of teen robbery suspect I Remember Sidecap made their first court appearances just hours ago. We're joined now by Chief Investigative Reporter Lynn Kawano. Lynn, now they faced a judge just for minutes today. Tell us what happened in court.
Yeah, it's a quick hearing. It's the initial appearance, so their first time coming into court. Really, all that's read to them is the charges. In this case, all 3 attorneys waived the reading of the charges because they understand it. They know what they're being charged with. They know what the complaint says. So they waived that, which makes it even faster, and they set the date for the preliminary hearing, which is going to be July 20th at 1:30 in the afternoon. Really, they took the most time deciding on how our news cameras should be handled in the courtroom, and once that was cleared up, this hearing just breezed through.
Right, and there was talk about evidence today, right? What was that about?
So in the preliminary hearing, the prosecutor is not required to turn over all the evidence. Coming up on trial, obviously, they have to turn over everything, even exculpatory evidence, evidence that would prove innocence. So they don't have to turn that all over, but in this case, in the preliminary hearing, the prosecutor said they were willing to turn over or at least send to the court ahead of time what they plan on using during that preliminary hearing. So witnesses they're going to call, some of the evidence, so that the defense can look it over and prepare for that preliminary hearing. The preliminary hearing is just to decide if there's probable cause, if there's enough to move forward with a trial.
So, Lynn, there was a lot of action taking place outside the courtroom as well. That's where our Casey Lund was. Let's see what he has to say.
Yeah, really massive showing of support here this morning on the corners of Hotel and Alakea, right in front of District Court. Hundreds of people from both the Police Officers Union as well as the Longshore Workers Union, ILWU, and just civilians. Groups of people that came here to show their support for those 3 officers that walked through this crowd right around 8 o'clock this morning. I want to take you to that moment. HPD officer and Shopo Honolulu rep Sean Cavaco recalls what it was like being there in support of his brothers in blue.
Very humbling. You know, our officers are out there every day protecting and serving the community. I think we owe a special deal of gratitude to every one of them. These 3 officers in this case were doing their job. They did it well. They kept the community safe, and we cannot forget that.
Officer Desiree Tidon Rodriguez imagines how she would react if she were walking up those steps.
Speaking honestly, you know, it's something that I could face possibly to do my job, but to save the public, it's something I would face. How I feel that it's wrong because we're here for the people. We're here for the community. We're, you know, to do our job, to face a murder charge, it's like an irony.
Across Alakea Street, a small but vocal group speaking out for the young man who was killed. Liz Reese is with the group Refuse Fascism.
And we're out here demanding justice for I Remember Sidecap. We need to remember that a 16-year-old unarmed boy was killed. We're demanding accountability and transparency. It's ironic that all these supporters of HPD, what do they have against transparency? What do they have against accountability?
Tupac Maru is Micronesian and a father.
They killed him cold-blooded. I'm pretty sure if it was any other race, they probably wouldn't have shot him like that. As a 16-year-old boy, I have a son of 13-year-old. They could have just grabbed him out of the car. A 16-year-old is not going to overpower the officers that they're super fit and physical built.
Eva Beach State Senator Kurt Favela was one of the most vocal in the crowd of supporters. He dispels the claim the shooting was in any way racially motivated.
One thing that everybody got to know in Hawaii, we're not the mainland. We have the most mixed race police department probably in the world. So when they use the word racism and murder and all these kinds of stuff, cop killers and all that kind of stuff, that's not true.
The preliminary hearing is set for July 20th at 1:30 p.m. Reporting in downtown Honolulu, I'm Casey Lund. Now back to you.
Thank you for that report, Case. Now, Lynn, what is the current status of the officers at HPD?
So they've been ROPA'd, and that stands for Removal of Police Authority. So they've had their police powers removed right now. They're on desk duty, but they are still with the department.
So, Lynn, let's talk about that grand jury and what's happening there and what did happen there. I keep hearing defense attorney experts saying something must have been wrong with the case if they declined to indict, right?
You know, there's a saying at federal court, you can indict a ham sandwich, because it's really at the at the mercy of the prosecutor. The prosecutor can show whatever evidence they want. The prosecutor can talk about whatever they want. The prosecutor can bring in whatever witnesses they want. And there's no defense. There's no one from the other side to come in and rebut or do anything to take any of their evidence away. So the fact that the prosecutors didn't get an indictment or a true bill was surprising, because then the prosecution went ahead and charged them anyway. Yes, defense attorneys say there must have been something wrong with the evidence. There must have been something wrong with the witnesses they called in order for them to not get this indictment. I get it. It remains to be seen. And the defense attorneys have asked for the grand jury transcripts to see what was revealed during the grand jury, to find out what happened, what possibly went wrong, or what they know the defense can, I guess, prepare for when their upcoming trial.
All right, we'll see how this all plays out. Chief Investigative Reporter Lynn Kawano, thank you so much. We'll have much more on this story on air and online today. Now to another big court case. Former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin has been sentenced to 22.5 years in prison for the death of George Floyd. Michael George has the new details.
I'm not going to attempt to be
in a courtroom tense with anticipation. Derek Chauvin faced a judge to be sentenced for the murder of George Floyd.
The court commits you to the custody of the Commissioner of Corrections for a period of 270 months. That's 270. That is a 10-year addition to the presumptive sentence of 150 months. This is based on your abuse of a position of trust and authority, and also the particular cruelty shown to George Floyd.
Before hearing his fate, Chauvin had a chance to address the court.
This time, due to some additional legal matters at hand, I'm not able to give a full formal statement at this time. But very briefly, though, I do want to give my condolences to the Floyd family.
The full extent of our pain.
Family members made statements on how the case has affected their lives since the day last year when Chauvin was captured on videotape kneeling on Floyd's neck for more than 9 minutes, ignoring his pleas for air.
I haven't had a real nice sleep because of the nightmares I constantly have hearing my brother beg and plead for his life over and over again.
Floyd's 7-year-old daughter Gianna spoke over video.
If you could say anything to your daddy right now, what would it be?
It would be, I miss you and I love you.
Chauvin was found guilty of murder in April. Since then, the judges considered sentencing arguments from both sides, as well as victim impact statements and an investigation into Chauvin's past. Chauvin's mother addressed the court and her son directly.
Remember, there is no stronger bond or love than a mother's love.
Chauvin has been held in a maximum security prison since his conviction, segregated from other inmates for security reasons. With good behavior, he'll likely serve 2/3 of his sentence behind bars and the rest on parole. Michael George, CBS News, Minneapolis.
All right, want to take you now to a live video feed coming to us from out of Florida. About 160 people are still unaccounted for following the partial collapse of a beachside condo in Florida. Here in this live picture, we see emergency crews on scene with a stretcher. I can't tell if anyone was on the stretcher right there in this live scene unfolding now, but I can tell you rescue crews pulled several bodies from the scene overnight, bringing the official death toll to 4. Laura Podesta is at the scene with the very latest developments.
Rescue crews became a bucket brigade atop the pile of rubble where 55 condo units collapsed. The search for survivors is also happening below in the underground parking lot. Teams are tunneling to the wreckage after dogs and microphones picked up banging noises.
So we concentrate in those areas. It could be just steel twisting, it could be debris raining down, but not specifically sounds of tapping or sounds of a human voice.
Residents' belongings still cling to the sides of the exposed 12-story building. It's a risk to rescue workers below who are also dealing with small fires and rain. Dr. Howard Lieberman is a medical manager with the Urban Search and Rescue Task Force.
We know that people can survive for extended period of times under the rubble, so we're going to keep them going until we're told, time's up.
Friends and family of the missing are gathering at a nearby reunification center and posting photos like this one on social media, still holding out hope. Near the scene, there were prayers for the missing and for healing. This man is desperate to find his 3 friends, Andres Galfrescoli, Fabian Nunez, and Sofia Nunez Galfrescoli.
I was there every day on the week, and I was there 4 hours before the collapsing.
Ariana Hevia's mother is missing.
I think I'm trying to brace myself for the worst and the best, and it's really hard. Just not knowing is just the worst part.
The cause of the collapse is under investigation. The 40-year-old building was undergoing routine inspection. Laura Podesta, CBS News, Surfside, Florida.
Here at home, an update we have today. The Board of Water Supply says work on the 42-inch main along Moanalua Freeway could continue through mid to late July. The repairs are closing a single lane on the freeway during daytime hours. Multiple lanes are closed at night. Officials say welders will venture into the main this weekend to try to fix the break. A contractor damaged the water line last week Friday. Now to the coronavirus numbers. The state health department is reporting 48 new infections today and 1 new fatality. The breakdown by island shows 2 cases on the Big Island, 2 on Kauai, 7 on Maui, 27 on Oahu, 7 people diagnosed out of state, and 3 of those cases are probable. And this just in from the Department of Health. DOH says the Delta variant of COVID-19 has been detected in all major counties. DOH says a total of 13 cases of the variant have been found so far.
Hawaii is about to welcome even more visitors. Starting in 2 weeks, vaccinated mainland travelers will be allowed to fly into the islands unrestricted. The caps on social gatherings will also increase to 25 people indoors and 75 people outdoors, and restaurants will move up to 75% capacity. Tourism expert Keith Vieira says lifting the testing requirements now will boost travel beyond the summer and into the slower fall and winter seasons.
The challenge is that restaurants, generally it's your last 15 to 20% of business that you make money on. But because of social distancing and the inability to bring back all the employees, because some people don't want to come back to work yet, they aren't making money yet. So while it looks good, oh my, it was so busy, but it was busy running 70% of what they normally run. So ultimately, the dining experience is an important part of the Hawaiian vacation. So I'm hoping that with this positive news, people will be able to bring more people back and get back to some level of normality until we get the group market back, and that will help probably next year.
Ige has said he'll remove all restrictions, including the mask mandate, when 70% of residents are vaccinated. He thinks that will happen in a couple months, and that would take more than 140,000 people getting their shots.
It's probably correct that the time to 70% is going to take a while. The real challenge there is because it's 70% of all of our state, not just all of the people who are eligible for the vaccination. As you know, people under 12, our keiki, cannot be vaccinated. It's not been approved for them, and that's 216,000 people. What I would just do is encourage everyone to get vaccinated. We'll constantly have these conversations with the governor based on risk. Right now, the risk is pretty low to catch COVID because so many people are vaccinated, and the numbers in the hospital and the case counts are dropping.
Are you one of the many Americans hooked on browsing real estate listings? Well, during the pandemic, usage of the popular real estate app Zillow skyrocketed. But as Liz McLaughlin reports, many are using it for reasons other than buying a home.
Yeah, I'm a total Zillow surfer.
Call it a pandemic pastime.
a recent spike in scrolling real estate listings.
Zillow saw traffic to its apps and websites hit 9.6 billion visits, and that was up 1.5 billion from the year before.
People stuck inside their homes started dreaming of new ones. Some even say they're addicted.
Very often I'll just sit down at night, instead of going on Facebook or Instagram, I go on Zillow. Are you bored?
A trend so widespread, it got the attention of Saturday Night Live.
I need a new fantasy.
Then you need Zillow.
But there might be some truth to those jokes.
It's fun to fantasize about alternate realities.
According to a survey of 1,500 Zillow users, 83% said they weren't actually looking to buy.
And we also found 28% of people said they have ignored their partner or their family while they were Zillow surfing.
More than half of those surveyed said they've used the app to snoop on a friend or neighbor. On Zillow, it's easy to see all sorts of details about homes just about anywhere on the map, such as interior photos and price history.
It's a new dating tactic, like looking up their address beforehand.
Many real estate surfers do want to buy a home, but according to Zillow, inventory is down this year by more than 30%, with prices in many markets swelling above 20%, and high demand often leading to competitive bidding wars.
Homes are flying off the market in a median of 6 days right now,
leaving many would-be homebuyers as mere window shoppers. Liz McLaughlin, NBC News.
I know someone who might be addicted to the Zillow.
I am. And
Yeah.
the Redfin and the Oahu RE, all of it.
It's super interesting. I love it
Yeah.
too. I love it. It's cool to see what's out there on the market, even if you're not looking. All right, let's see what's ahead for your weekend weather. Here's Billy V in for Guy Hoggy.
Thank you very much. I'm Billy V. Here we go. Sitting in for Guy Hoggy. Here's your Friday forecast for you. First of all, the waves 4 to 6 feet over on the North Shore. That's an out-of-season swell. That's some storms passing to the north of the Hawaiian Islands. It doesn't directly affect our forecast, but it does affect our trade winds, and we'll talk about that in a moment. 3 to 5 wrap around there. Town Spots has its own energy and a series of small swells as we go through the next couple of days. Your UV index is at 12. Here's your forecast as far as what you can expect. We'll start rolling this from right now Friday morning, and as we go through you can see that there's not a whole bunch of rain Friday and Saturday. Sunday we're starting to get back some winds and some precipitation. By the time we get towards Tuesday, we'll have the trade winds back. They'll come on strong all the way through till next weekend. So we've got 4 or 5 days of just not a whole lot of trade wind weather. As a matter of fact, trade winds remain gone today, tomorrow, Sunday, Monday. Tuesday, they're back strong. Your daytime high is going to be near 88 degrees, but it'll feel like warmer. As always, get the latest on air, online, on your mobile device, and at HawaiiNewsNow.com.
There's new reports that Britney Spears is in Hawaii right now, and she just delivered a new message to the world. This comes after her emotional testimony in court this week. Here's Aaron McLaughlin.
This morning, Britney Spears on a private jet, laughing with her boyfriend, Sam ASGHARI.
Have I ever told you I love broccoli?
So stupid. The lighthearted videos posted to his social media. The pop star posting on her own account a more serious message to her fans. I apologize for pretending like I've been okay the past 2 years. I did it because of my pride, and I was embarrassed to share what happened to me. The 39-year-old lashed out in court on Wednesday, comparing life under her conservatorship to human trafficking. If I didn't do any of my meetings and work 10 hours a day, 7 days a week, I wouldn't be able to see my kids or my boyfriend. Britney told the judge she wants to sue her father and everyone involved, saying they should be in jail. Let Britney speak! The hashtag Free Britney going viral. Podcast host Tess Barker is a leader in the movement.
The moment that really keeps making my blood boil was when she told the court that her conservators weren't allowing her to go to the doctor to get her IUD removed. I think that's an issue of civil rights, bodily autonomy.
But legal experts say it's not unusual for conservators to control a patient's contraception because their psychotropic medicine could harm a fetus, noting we still don't have all the facts in this case. Incredibly, Britney also told the court she didn't know she could petition to end her 13-year conservatorship, something her older brother Brian says she's been asking for.
She's wanted to get out of it for quite some time.
her attorney has not helped her to that end. How is that possible?
It would result in a mini trial in front of the world, essentially, including her medical records, expert testimony, diagnoses.
BRITNEY told the judge she wants to replace her court-appointed attorney and hire her own counsel, a move her mother Lynn advocated for. But BRITNEY says she feels totally alone. My family has lived off my conservatorship for 13 years. I won't be surprised if one of them says, we don't think this should end.
All right, we'll continue to follow the developments there. And aloha to Britney Spears, who apparently is here in the islands right now.
Yep.
What else is the internet talking about, Ash?
Well, if you are in need of a vacation and you want to go far away, and I mean far, far away, there is an option for space travel. Florida company Space Perspective has invented a luxury space balloon. It can ascend 20 miles into the Earth's upper atmosphere and is lifted by hydrogen. A 6-hour journey is scheduled to lift off in 2024. The cost, it's not cheap, $125,000.
That's it.
Yeah.
Merry Monarch news, right?
Yeah, so we're looking ahead to the festival this year. Tonight on K5, some of the best performances from 2012 and 2013. It begins at 7 o'clock tonight, so check it out. And to get you excited for all the festivities, our Jim Mendoza spotlights a dynamic Waianae-based halau.
These men, they like to be challenged.
The men from Kekai Okahiki dance with a style Kumuhula La'akea Perry describes as complex and difficult.
We always dancing in low positions, moving quickly, so you have to have strength, endurance, agility.
The Waianae halau takes its cue from ancient Hawaii, when chiefs turned dancers into warriors. They train like they're preparing for combat.
We come to practice knowing that at the end of practice, you won't have anything left.
The men climb coconut trees to build strength and use rock, sand, and water to add endurance. They have to be strong to pass the test.
A lot of guys have wanted to come. They've tried it out for 1 or 2, and then they said, thank you very much, mahalo, but I don't know if I can continue.
The pandemic paused hula, but it gave the dancers time to focus on families and jobs. They kept connected through a messaging app.
I said, let's keep in touch that way.
This year, Kekai Okahiki will repeat the performance from its first Merry Monarch appearance in 1979. They'll have 7 minutes to tell a story.
That 7 minutes that we're on stage, we trained for it for 10, 11, sometimes 12 months.
A film crew is following the halau for a hula documentary.
In addition to being kapuna and culture practitioners and dancers, they're also people, and you form a bond with them over time.
Perry says it's an honor to share hula with the masses.
Our tradition, our culture continues, it lives on, and is strong.
Jim Mendoza, Hawaii News Now.
Yeah, those workouts are no joke. Now, starting next Thursday, July 1st, you can watch all 3 nights of the Merry Monarch Festival on K5, our Hawaii News Now website and mobile app, as well as Roku, Apple TV, or the Amazon Fire TV app.
And I am so excited about this. I love it every year. I've only gotten to go once, but I know the digital team is planning all sorts of extras for this, including tons of video highlights that you can check out on your H&N digital platforms. Also wanted to remind you guys, if you ever missed This Is Now, that's now coming to you from the brand new Digital Center, you can check out our podcast. You can find it anywhere you find your podcast by just searching Hawaii News Now. You guys, that's it for this Friday edition. Have a great weekend. Ashley's back first at 4 on KHNL. Aloha.